flight safety speech that happens before flight. It goes something like this. Please fasten your seatbelts, yada, yada, yada. In the event of an emergency, a flight safety mask will drop down. If you're flying with small children, please place the mask on yourself first before assisting your children. Now, the first time you hear that, you might think, that kind of sucks for those kids. But then you think about it and you're like, why do they recommend that? And it's actually quite obvious. I mean, how can you help anyone else if you're sitting there suffocating? You're no use to anyone. But that's actually a great set of instructions because we can take that as a metaphor for life. Place the mask on yourself first before you assist others. Now, if we take this as a metaphor for life, how can we apply that? Should we apply that? And if so, how? Well, I have a few questions for you. And if you say yes to any of these questions, then maybe you should think about applying it. Do you ever find yourself bending over backwards for friends, family, co-workers, or bosses, often at the expense of your own needs? Do you find yourself running from task to task on a daily basis? And by the time you finally have a second to stop and breathe, well, look at that, it's 10 o'clock. Darn. Do you find yourself fighting so often with details in your life that you can't just take a step back and look at it from a larger perspective? Well, if any of this applies for you, then I'd like to share a few ideas which might help you build a habit of putting your own mask on first. Now, before we get into all of that, we have to ask ourselves, why do we have this habit of neglecting our own needs and putting ourselves last? It turns out a lot of this might come from our social and mental programming. For example, maybe you grew up with a family with a lot of older and younger siblings. You might have had to fight for attention, or anything for that matter, even the clothes on your back. You might have felt that your needs came last. Or maybe you come from a culture where it's more important to put ahead the needs of the family or the community in front of those of the individual. Again, you might feel that your needs have come last. And of course, all of us are subject to social pressures and criticism. It's rude, it's arrogant, it's selfish to put yourself first. Bad, bad, bad. But what all of these messages leave out is the fact that it's impossible to be of any contribution to others until you can really address your basic needs first. It's only once you satisfy those physical, emotional, and psychological needs that we can really contribute to society and to others. Okay, so you might be thinking now, all right, that sounds good. What am I supposed to do about that? Well, one solution revolves around the idea of making ourselves strong first. And the idea behind that is that before you dive into your daily routine, you set aside a few minutes in the morning where you really focus on building your energy, building your strength, so that you can start the day from a strong point perspective. Now, there's a great book called The Miracle Morning, in which he presents a routine that tells you exactly how to do this, and it only takes 6 minutes. By doing this, you can build a habit of putting your own mask on first. He calls this routine SAVERS, S-A-V-E-R-S, and it goes as follows. S is for silence. You take 1 minute of silence to meditate, to breathe, and become present. A is for affirmation. You list and read to yourself a set of affirmations which might remind you of your goals, your priorities, and the fact that you can achieve those. V is for visualization. This is where you take 1 minute and you visualize exactly what it means to reach your goals. And you see your day going exactly as you planned. E is for exercise. This is where you take a minute to do anything to build your energy up physically. That might be stretching, doing jumping jacks, anything. R is for reading. You might take a minute to read your favorite quotations or a few passages from a book. Anything that inspires and motivates you. S, again, is for scribing or writing. You might have a journal nearby where you take a minute to jot down a few thoughts about things you're grateful for, things that you have to be happy about, something to inspire you. And you finish this off by committing to do this every day for at least 30 days. And that way you develop a habit that over the long term can give you the skill of putting your own mask on first. So now, hopefully we've seen how society surrounds us with a lot of negative pressure and criticism when it comes to addressing our own needs first. But you have to realize that it's only once we address those basic needs that we can effectively be of contribution to other people. Once you put in place a daily habit where you build a routine of building your own strength first, you can start off the day from a strong point, and you can be more effective in how you address society. So tomorrow when you wake up, instead of reaching for your cell phone, going to check your email, hopping on Facebook, I would like for you to put your own mask on first and give yourself 6 minutes of kindness because you deserve it. Thank you.